Okay, hello. My name is Paul Archer, and I'm incredibly excited to be joined today by Mr. Jeremy Rusco from Dynamic Discs. How you doing?
Hey, great, Paul. Thanks for having me today. How are you doing?
Yeah, I'm not too bad, not too bad. Fresh from a holiday, and quite keen to get stuck in and learning a bit about the story. And so before we kick in, and I want to learn about how the company came to be and how you built the brand and things like that. But for a lot of people here in the UK, let's start with the basics. What is disc golf?
Disc golf is something that you should be doing if you are not already. And over in the United States, it's grown like crazy. And then I know in a lot of the Scandinavian countries, disc golf is growing quite fast as well. And it's basically golf with discs instead of balls. And the great thing about it is it's for all walks of life. It's free to play in most places. It's fun. It's good exercise. It's good outdoor recreation. And again, if you're not playing right now, you should find the nearest course, go out there with a disc, could even go out there with a frisbee, have a good time, and see what enjoying disc golf out in Mother Nature is all about.
Amazing. So, what is the difference between a disc and a frisbee then?
Well, a disc is sleeker profile. Imagine just a faster flying frisbee that you can do, more shot shapes with, and yeah, your catch disc. And I guess I could grab an example, but I don't think I need to. Yeah, there's specific. There's for disc golf. There's distance drivers. There's fairway drivers. There's mid range discs. There's approach discs, and there's putters. And they're designed to fly different directions and do different shot shapes so that you can navigate the course and a bunch of different, whatever the course is calling for. And it's pretty enjoyable.
Amazing. So obviously it's been growing quite a lot in the past few years, and I know the pandemic has certainly affected the way that the sport has grown in a really positive way. But how did you get into it? How did this business start?
Out of passion for being a disc golfer. I was getting hooked on disc golf. I was very competitive. Just everything I did growing up, if I was playing my grandma Monopoly, you better believe it, I was going to win, or cards or whatever it was. And that stuff translated into, we'll say, real sports. And you went sideways on me. So I just got a little bit, I got a little bit sideways myself here. And essentially started playing disc golf when I moved off to college in 2002, was on the football team and on the track team. And in 2005, some of my roommates, we got a little bit more passionate about playing disc golf. And that turned into me wanting to start a little eBay eBay company called Dynamic Discs. Bought 100 discs from one of the disc golf manufacturers, put them on eBay, sold a disc the first week, sold a disc the second week, and that started turning into 2 discs a week and 3 discs a week, and turned into 10 to 20 to 100. And here we are today, 17 years later, 80 employees. Things are growing like crazy, and excited about the future of not only dynamic discs, but the sport of disc golf.
Amazing. So we're 17 years in, 80 employees, and that's a huge journey. Obviously, you started just selling these products that you were buying from someone else under this brand of Dynamic Discs. Like, how did you go to build the brand that Dynamic Discs is today? Because it's such a powerhouse in the industry. Like, where were the basic first steps that you went from being an eBay seller to actually becoming a bit more of a brand?
Well, the first thing was creating the logo and getting the Dynamic Disc logo. And I actually wish I had some of those early examples with me right now. But establishing that logo was one of those key things. And a funny story about that is that I thought it was too expensive to trademark the logo. And it was about $1,000 at the time. And I was like, no way am I going to spend $1,000. And so my parents, actually, as a birthday present, they trademarked the logo for me. And I think that was really that time where my parents really showed to me that they really embrace what's going on with dynamic disc and with my future and my career, and showed their support. And that was a pretty cool moment. And that's still the logo that logo right there, which we have some different renditions of it and whatnot. But so getting the logo established and created, and then ultimately it was all about taking care of the customers. When somebody would order, I always wanted to make sure that it got out the same day. If absolutely possible, always wanted to make sure that they got the product and we're going to be happy with it. Wanted to make sure that anytime anybody emailed, communicated, called, that, just top-notch professional communication all the way around. And so that just started to snowball. You get your repeat customers, you get your repeat followers, fans, and you just start building this, essentially this network of customers, which are fans and followers and passionate individuals that are disc golfers. And so
beyond the idea of like just kind of getting there from with the logo to now, when there is quite a lot of people who are buying your discs every single time, like what's the craziest thing you've seen any of your fans do with that logo?
Well, the first tattoo that I had seen or saw was one of the most interesting, kind of just blew my mind that somebody wanted to get a Dynamic Discs tattoo. And actually that individual ended up becoming one of the early on employees at Dynamic Disc, when Dynamic Disc was actually still based out of my house. And there were more tattoos to follow. And I'm still to this day surprised that people, want to do that. And I think that's just so cool. I think that's just, speaks to the passion of disc golf and the passionate followers for Dynamic Discs. And it really speaks back to building the brand of, if you can have something that people are passionate about, they're going to want to support you, they're going to want to follow you. And we've just built that network of passionate followers, and that's just not followers, that's our staff as well, our sponsored team players. And one of those important things for continuing to build a brand.
That's brilliant. And if I remember rightly, has there been a wedding where we've got people throwing Dynamic Discs instead of confetti and some various other things like that?
Well, that would be yes, my wedding, where and I'm sure there's been plenty of weddings. We do lots of custom discs for bachelor parties, weddings, groomsmen discs, those sorts of things, which is always cool to see. But yeah, my wedding, that was the getaway vehicle was the first Dynamic Discs RV that I purchased actually on eBay with my best friend, drinking a couple cold beverages, during one of the nights, and I was like, this is a good idea. We need to get an RV so that I can go to tournaments, or we can go to tournaments and all ride in the same vehicle and set up tournament headquarters and really create a festive atmosphere. And so we were really starting to shift and evolve the disc golf tournament scene. Early on, we would go and take more merchandise than most disc golf stores would have at the time, set it up in front of the players that would come out and play in the event. We'd play music, we'd use the microphone, we'd have a good time. So a lot of the best players would, come out and be a part of things. And we were just really pushing the sport and really creating a more professional scene. And that was another one of those, things that really helped build the brand, was getting in front of the people, getting in front of the players out at tournaments. When we'd go down, based out of Kansas, we'd host some events in Kansas, but then we knew that Texas was a really big, important disc golf scene. And so we'd venture down to the Texas area, where we established a lot of good tournaments and a lot of good people and promoters to help us out. And then of course, Oklahoma, and then that just ventured beyond. And now today, I think I can't even keep track of the number of RVs and bands that go around and, push and promote disc golf and Dynamic Disc. But yeah, we've got several RVs and several bands that essentially our touring and promotions team to not only grow Dynamic Disc, but to grow disc golf. And
So it sounds like you were pretty present on the ground in a lot of these things, building up that grassroots support, which is a trend that I tend to see across almost every single successful brand. Is a founder is getting stuck in. I mean, were you the man on the ground? Were you the one that was taking the money at the tournaments, the one that was driving the RV? You were always the one there.
Always the one there. That being said, I always had really good help and had, some key individuals that really helped, that invested a lot of time, effort, energy, support to make things happen. And But yeah, I was at every tournament for quite a long time. I think actually it was started, the first tournament was in 2005, 2006. And I believe I was at every tournament until 2012. And we were doing around 20 events a year. And that, might be leaving on a Thursday and getting home on a 2, 3 a.m. on a Monday morning, or, or Monday in general. And that first tournament that I missed, I missed a lot of weddings, family events, family vacations, those sorts of things, because I was just really in dynamic disc growth mode, and I was having fun. I was loving it, and all the people around me were loving it. And so it was almost like a drug. That was my addiction. And yeah, that first event that I missed had amazing people to run the show while I was not there, but it was a kind of a surreal feeling of not being there, because it just was, stepping away is sometimes not always easy to do. And here we are today, and I haven't been to a tournament in a little while. So
what do you think the inflection point is for that? Because I think that with a lot of brands, it's very easy to try and outsource it to get someone else to scale it, when actually it often needs to be the founder, the personality behind the brand is really kind of talking to people, building out those relationships. But at some point that does change. And so what do you think the inflection point was for you? And was there anything looking back that you're like, yeah, the difference is we'd employed our 20th employee, or we did X dollars in revenue? Or was there something that was quite clear? It's like, now I can step back, now my role is shifting? Or did it happen quite just gradually?
I would say it was gradual. One of the biggest things for us, though, we were doing about a dozen tournaments a year in Texas, and that's an 8-hour drive. We opened up a partner store, basically considered a franchise store in we'll say the Dallas, Texas area. And the two key individuals there, the franchise owner as well as the general manager, we wanted to shift the tournaments over to them to really not only, and they opened up a store, but they were also running the disc golf tournaments. And so getting them up and running on doing the tournaments really allowed us from, we'll say Kansas, the Kansas operations crew, myself included, to not have to make that drive and the commitment down to Texas. And so that was one of those big moments of seeing that, other people can take what we've established and what we've done. And not that there's thousands of tournaments that happen, but the way that we ran tournaments was different than the way that almost everybody ran tournaments. And realizing that model can be repeated as long as you've got good people in place to see things through. And we feel like we partnered with the right people down there, and we've replicated that model even more now to this day.
So we're talking obviously about going to a lot of these tournaments, and you mentioned building that network that led to that network, and you got great people who were coming in and joining it. Why was it that tournaments was the channel that you saw was the way of growing this business? How was that got you in front of people, or were you building relationships versus, you can buy ads, or you could have been doing something on a social network or whatever it is at the time? Why were tournaments so important to Dynamic Discs and their growth?
Yeah, so social media in 2005, 2006, 2007 was really just getting going, so there wasn't really this way to connect with your fans, your followers at that time, and in the way that it is today. And so to me, it was, getting out in front of people, establishing those connections. And that was really important to me. I wanted to know everybody's name. I was there at the check-in table, shaking hands, saying thanks, for being here, and trying to get everybody's name. And we're talking about of 180 people at almost every stop at that point in time. And I, of course, didn't get to know everybody by name every week, but I really did value those, those moments. And I valued being able to talk to people during their round, walking with them. And then, and ultimately, that just solidified that they wanted to continue to support Dynamic Disc. And it wasn't like it was just something that I was enjoying doing. I was passionate about it. It wasn't like I was forcing any of this stuff to to happen. And yeah, I think that was really what was one of those important things. And as we repeated that and traveled even further out, and as tournaments got bigger, and we ran the biggest tournament for years in the world, that would have 1,600 competitors come to our backyard here in Emporia, Kansas. And that was just another one of those opportunities to, I'd be at the front door welcoming people to the check-in, and just pretty cool growth stages along the way. And we're still excited about disc golf and the future, where it's going, and looking forward to continuing to serve our customers day in and day out.
Brilliant. And so that's a great kind of segue onto it. So 80 employees now. Like, I mean, it's as a sport, it's grown hugely since COVID. People getting out there, as with every outdoor sport. Like, what is next for Dynamic Discs and Rusco?
Well, we got a lot of stuff going on. I always like to say that we're always working on something, and we truly are. And any organization should always be working on something. But that's been something that's really stuck in the disc golf community. And one of the big things that had just happened here recently is we signed our first $1 million sponsored player. So we secured a 4-year, $4 million minimum guarantee, as well as a $250,000 in crypto signing bonus for the individual. We've got the #1 player in the world. And that's one of the big moments for disc golf to have. Now there's 2 players that are making a minimum of $1 million a year, throwing a disc, playing competitive disc golf, and being an influencer out there. In terms of the future for us, we've just grown into a new facility. We've got an 80,000 square foot warehouse facility that's also our world headquarters, where the majority of our staff works. And I can see us, we've pretty much already outgrown this facility in less than a year. But I can see production being something in our future, where currently our discs are all made in Sweden and then shipped over to us for North American distribution. I can see us partnering with our current manufacturer to set up production in the United States. Obviously, it's becoming expensive to ship the amount of discs that we're shipping. And as we all know, the challenges in the logistics world are ever increasing, and there's definitely going to be some advantages to having production in the United States, as the United States market is the biggest share of the market. And so I think that's on the horizon. Continued growth. We've got growth plans to be well over 100 employees, much more revenue along the way. And a couple of the biggest surprises for me seems like we're always running out of space, we're always running out of money, and that's kind of a weird thing to me. It doesn't. I got Dynamic Disc started on an $800. I had $800 built up from my bank account and bought 100 discs to sell on eBay, and did not have a need for money until 2012, which is when we decided to buy a second RV and get it out on the road, open up a store in Kansas City, open up that franchise partner store in Texas, and also partner up on having discs made for us with Latitude 64 in Sweden, and basically evolve into a disc golf manufacturer. So it doesn't take money to make money, but it takes money to scale up and grow quicker. And I think that's one of the things that most people can't really embrace or understand. You see all the money that comes into this business, you see all the product that comes in, you see all the money or not all the money, but all the product that goes out. And, I think a lot of people will be like, my gosh, you must be loaded. You must be, financially just kicking butt. And the reality of the situation is, while things are going well, to build inventory, to give your customers terms, to have some things go bad, where maybe you've spent some money on a product and you got scammed, or people didn't pay you, companies went bankrupt, the $30,000 that they owe you, you're never going to see. Those things make the business world challenging. And then to make payroll every week and to provide more benefits, and those things are very important for us as we continue to grow. So continuing to give back more to our employees, as well as giving back to the disc golf community, are some of the things that we're passionate about doing. And ultimately, we just want to continue to enrich lives through disc golf, because we really do believe that getting out on the disc golf course is something that's going to be meaningful to the people that get out there and do it. And I can see right there, Paul, you want to get out and you want to play disc golf now.
I do indeed. But actually, we found out that there is actually a course not too far from here as well, which we're all going to go and head down to and actually have a little go, because I've not actually played it. So, and I know a few folks. So we've got quite a few keen Canadians in the team who are up for a bit. So yeah, we're down for doing it. And that you were saying there about the community, like that community of the disc golf community itself, but also the community that you have built around the brand. I mean, how important is that to the way that you make decisions, to the way that you grow the business, and how integral is that to the operations?
I'd say it's critical, and you can choose to run your business however you want. For us, I mean, there's some disc golf companies that don't answer emails, they don't have customer service, they don't have a media team, they don't have all the intricate aspects of the business going on, and I'm sure, are showing high profits. I'm sure they're selling things. I believe that the way that we're growing the company positions us for long-term success, and that's what we're excited about. And so connecting with our fans, our followers is something that we feel very passionate about. That's why we've grown our media team and our customer service team and our entire organization, where we don't have office space anymore. And we thought we overbuilt our office space by like 12 offices as we moved into the new facility. So yeah, I think it is very important. Obviously, social media is a critical part of that, but also we partnered with you, with Dual, and oh my gosh, when we were running those initial numbers together on how many brand advocates can we, how many do we think we're going to have? And I think we thought, we'll have like 2,500. As we were obviously the program has been super successful, and I think we're at like 8,000 or 9,000 advocates through the Dual platform, which has been incredible to see. And we all agreed that, the disc golf community is full of passionate individuals that really do want to connect more with brands. And that's where we believe that those connections that we continue to establish with our fans, our followers, our customers is what's making a difference for us.
And it is one of those things. We work with quite a lot of brands, as you know, but the way that Dynamic Discs works with your customers, look at advocacy, build that community, nurtures them, build relationships over those transactions, which is really what you're saying about, really investing in those people is it feels very intuitive. And you guys just naturally get it, which is obviously what's driven that growth, which is fantastic to see. And one of the things I did want to sort of talk about was kind of rewarding people and the generosity that you had with it. I know that you reward people now. There's lots of different ways that you can kind of incentivize people. But back in the day when you were there driving around in the RVs, like how did you show up for those people? What value were you providing for them, and how much of that has stayed till today?
Yeah, great question. So we'll start with the road warriors that jumped in the RV with me, right? That really was the tournament staff. And so I gave them free tournament entry fee. We're talking like 40 to 60 bucks for most. And then they got, of course, Dynamic Discs gear, discs, those sorts of things. And in terms of that actual being in, showing up to the tournament. So the first tournament that we did in Texas was I was in my grandma's minivan, and Eric McCabe, who was the first Dynamic Disc sponsored player who from Emporia became 2010 world champion. This was pre him being a world champion. He took his truck down to Texas, and he had some family in Texas, and that was how that worked out. But we showed up and we did it different at the time. Almost every tournament you played in, they would give out a t-shirt and a disc, and the t-shirt would usually have whatever tournament name on the front, and on the back, it would have 50 sponsor logos that were about that big. And we showed up with a cool Dynamic Disc shirt, Dynamic Disc logo on the front, Dynamic Disc logo on the back, and put t-shirts into 142 players, on 142 players' backs, and they were just blown away. They were like, "Oh my gosh, I like this t-shirt for once." And it was a $4 t-shirt. I was making a lot of the shirts at the time on the heat press, and it was doing those things. And then, so not only giving them stuff that they wanted that they weren't getting, we gave them more value. The player pack that they would get was a great value. The overall experience that they would get was a better experience than they would get at other tournaments. That festive atmosphere that I was talking about, where they can enjoy not only our company, but the company of the entire tournament. And that was that. And then at the end, there's the payout. And so we would also provide what we felt like was a better payout than most other tournaments at the time. And so just, really providing that great value and that great customer experience all the way around, I think, is what just started to build that snowball of those passionate Dynamic Disc followers.
Amazing. And now, we talked about all of the athletes that you're working with. I mean, how many do you sponsor now? And do you have, is this a tiered system? How do you approach your sports marketing, I guess, as it's known?
Yeah, so we sponsor over 100 disc golfers that are mostly in the United States, but we do have international players as well from different countries. And it is different. There's ambassador levels. There's, like a touring professional team, an amateur team, as well as, to the top, the number one player in the world. And the levels of support that we are able to give those players varies on, what they're doing. And it's not a one size fits all formula. And if there's one thing that's certain, it's that we continue to provide more for the sponsored players as every year goes on, because we continue to see the value and the influence that they bring to us, to our brand in the disc golf world.
And is this because they are winning tournaments? People are seeing them winning and say, well, I see that they're winning with Dynamic Discs, I should go and buy the same product? Or is it that, do they have media followings of their own? They've got social followings? Are they influencing small groups of clubs? How does their spheres of influence, or is it a combination of all of the above?
You just answered all of it, Paul. And in addition to what you just mentioned, it could be that they're growing the disc golf scene by, putting a course in their local area, or growing, more courses around their area. Just last year alone, there was over 5 courses a day installed in the world, and the growth trajectory of disc golf is just incredible. But yeah, it's, the number one player in the world also has he actually has more followers on Instagram than we have. And so to me, that's pretty telling. He's got 13,000. Ricky Wysocki, go look him up. Saki Bomb, something on Instagram, you'll find him. And then we also do sponsor one of the most influential female disc golfers as well, who actually doesn't have any world titles or world championships, behind her name, but she is a tremendous influencer on social media, and just a great person, great individual as well. And so, yeah, everybody's got their own niche, and we just try to make sure that we partner up with, good quality people that, are passionate about Dynamic Discs, and just a professional individual all the way around.
And so I love the idea of the sport growing itself. I mean, your share of market must be, relatively consistent, but with the sport growing, then that'll be you growing as well with it. So how do you expand beyond the sort of work with these influencers? How do you expand the disc golf scene, the sport itself, outside of just dynamic disc position? How do you get more people playing the sport? Because that will inevitably lead to more people buying your discs.
Yeah, absolutely. So we are passionate about growing disc golf at the grassroots level. We think that's one of the most important things. We do all kinds of things throughout the course of the year to get in front of more people and get disc golf introduced to more people. One of the things that I think is going to be the biggest growth of sport initiative that's happened is partnering with Ricky Wysocki, who is that #1 player in the world. He and we helped put together the Saki Bomb Foundation, which is his brand. And it's the first putt program initiative where he and we are donating to 100 different schools, 100 putters or 100 discs, as well as a basket, so that these schools can implement disc golf into their PE curriculum or into their school program. And that's just one way where we're going to get disc golf into a lot of people's hands. And we do all kinds of stuff, but that's one of the things that I'm really excited about for this year. And you can go to sakibombfoundation.org to submit. Say you got a school that you think would, be a candidate to win, or I don't know, win's the wrong word, but to qualify for this. Those applications are being reviewed, and we're trying to grow the sport. We're doing a stadium. We do stadium events every year where we rent out an NFL stadium. So the Kansas City Chiefs Arrowhead Stadium is one that we're renting this May, and that's just another way to get disc golf in front of maybe a different crowd. Of course, it's a lot of disc golfers that are coming to that, but they'll usually catch some local news and those sorts of things about disc golf being played in Patrick Mahomes's stadium. So don't know how much you follow football, but I love my Chiefs.
That's huge. I think you mean American football.
Yes.
Football is something completely different.
Yeah, that's American football. Did I go offline? Nope. Maybe I'm back. Here we are.
We got you back. One of the things we talked about, rewards and incentivization. You mentioned that you gave your top sponsored guy a signing bonus in crypto. Now, this is maybe a difficult question, but how do you see the new Web3 world, the crypto world, clashing with brands? And do you have any plans or anything like that with Dynamic Discs?
Well, I'm a little too new to the crypto world to know a whole lot. Obviously, it's becoming more and more relevant, and we've been looking, just on dynamicdisc.com, how do we make sure that we accept crypto for payment and those sorts of things. And it's, there's different, a lot of complexities to that. So we haven't been able to move forward with anything just yet, but I'm certain that crypto is absolutely going to be something that's more relevant moving forward. Clearly, it's very relevant right now, but as more and more people get their crypto wallets and can spend crypto more easily, more just part of your everyday, like using your credit card. Crypto is definitely something that's going to be very important for the future of spending money and receiving money.
I'm receiving it. And we're talking to quite a few brands who are looking at ways of using tokens to sort of reward their community as well, using it as like one-off sort of releases, tying it in with products in the same way that you'll do limited release discs. They'll be associating it with tokens, and loads of really interesting experiments going on in the space as well. So super keen to see where it goes. Yeah,
very interesting.
So as a brand builder from the early days there, driving around in your van, and now to a stage that you guys have found some great success, what are some of the mistakes that you've made, and what are some of the things that you'll do differently if you were to do it again?
Yeah, good question. So, as we were starting to see success and starting to, realize that there was growth opportunities, we almost felt like we could do anything, that we put our mind to, and arguably we could. But so we started to venture a little outside of what you would say would be our core focus, or our core business, our core products. And we decided to get into having some shoes made for us. Actually, disc golfers are very hard on shoes. Our customers, our fans were asking us, man, you need to make some shoes for us. And we were like, heck yeah, let's do it.
How hard could it be?
And lesson learned, one, an expensive lesson at the time. But we sampled shoes. I was working hard on it. I was passionate that I wanted to see this through. And at the end of the day, we're not a shoe company. We're a disc golf company, and shoes just are not something that we're going to be good at. And we got the shoes in, we gave them out as a player pack item at our big tournament, and they started falling apart. And we were like, oh my gosh, you got to be kidding me. Anyway, we had to basically scrap the whole production run. They were, and we spent a lot of money on it. And lesson learned for us was, let's stick to our core products. Let's stay focused on what we're good at. Not that we're gonna venture a little bit along the way. We're gonna experiment with some new products and things like that. But for us, shoes was not something, and that was a hard lesson learned. That was really a valuable lesson, and actually something that we still look back to this day and know that was really a pivotal moment for us to narrow the focus, make sure that we do what we're doing in a good way, and here we are today, still at it, but we're not doing shoes.
Not doing shoes. And what was the point that you actually, because you obviously started off just selling discs. When did you first sell something that wasn't a disc? T-shirts at tournaments aside, and because stickers and stuff like that don't really count, I guess.
Well, for the most part, we stuck in the disc golf realm, right? Disc golfers buy discs, they buy bags to carry their discs in, and they buy baskets to, that might be their backyard or for the course. And I don't know, we really stuck in that realm. And for the most part, we have all to this day. Right now we're actually starting to venture more into backyard games. So, or ultimate or catch discs, beach gliders, those sorts of things. And so we've got some backyard products that we're venturing into. And part of that was we started to realize that some of the big box stores we work with, they wanted to have a little more of a product mix than just disc golf from us, because once you start ordering from a company, it's easier to just have another product to put on the shelves than work with two different companies. And so that's one of the areas that we're experimenting with right now. I think it's going to prove to be successful, but check back in a year or two and I'll let you know.
That's cool. Very exciting. Something which your story just encapsulates incredibly well is this founder-led brand, and that it always starts with passion. The founders of every great sports brand, without fail, always love the sports above all else, and the community that they build is around a tight niche that they intuitively get because they love it. And then maybe if it branches out into the other areas, that's because they've already reached saturation point within that community, because that passion just flows through, and it almost always flows through an individual and how much they love it. And I think that you embody that with disc golf, dynamic discs, that story, and they're so well intertwined. And I would bet that a large amount of your success is because of you and that passion.
I appreciate that. And I might tend to agree.
Nice one.
Hey, in closing on my end, man, I just want to compliment that beautiful looking office there. I can't wait till you get more people, to get back to work there, as more people start to transition away from working from home. And we've greatly valued and appreciated our partnership that we've had with Dual. Us engaging our fans, our followers, you guys with the platform that you put together with us really allowed us to engage with our customers, with our followers, and made it easy. And I think that it's something that a lot of brands need to consider. A lot of brands need to look for ways to engage and utilize the passionate followers that they have, and you guys have the tools for success. And we've again valued what we've put together over the last year and a half, 2 years. I lost track of time once COVID hit, and here we are today.
Time flies when you're having fun. Yeah, we appreciate that. Cool. So final question from me, one we like to end with. And so what piece of advice would you give for any aspiring brand builders?
So I would give the advice to make sure that you're passionate about what you're getting into, because I just think over time, I mean, I've been doing this for 17 years. I've invested a lot of time into this. And I think that if you're not passionate about it, I'm passionate about disc golf. Like, I love going out and playing. I don't play as much as I used to, but I still love it. And I think that if you get into something that you're not passionate about, you're going to burn yourself out. You're not going to be thinking about, what your business is, and to the degree that brings that enjoyment to you. And so I think it's important to be passionate, but I also think it's important to take care of your customers and really find ways to have brand advocates that are out there, influencers that are pushing your brand to really allow it to continue to grow, because you can obviously only do so much yourself.
Right, we're coming to an end now. Massive thanks to Rusco for making the time at Dynamic Discs. I really appreciate you listening into this. And if you've got any more questions for Jeremy, we will be sending it his way.